Hello and welcome. It's an honor and a privilege to be your messenger. I have just done this message on Facebook. If you have watched or listened to it on Facebook, there is no need to listen again. Now this is Prophetic Truth Waves for of 2026, and this is a message for an individual. It is not a message for everybody, but I had no other means of delivering it, and so I decided to use the only means I had access to. It might not make a lot of sense to the majority who will listen to it, but it will be understood by the one who needs to understand it. So I had a rare access to a high profile environment in the spirit that involved a high profile individual in the land, and I got access for a few minutes into some of the key intelligent features of that environment at the present. This is a very sensitive environment, and it is a developing story in the sense that what I had access to might not be the whole picture of what I was being sensitized to, and so there is a need for the owner of the message to build a full and comprehensive picture based on what I was able to capture in the spirit. Now, like I have just said, I had access in the spirit to this high profile environment, particularly a working environment, and key prescriptive areas of a leadership role. I saw certain descriptive functional areas, forthcoming areas of elevation, influence, and favor in that environment. And what I was able to see was this: there is an upcoming period of divine favor for this individual and certain people around him. There is promotion coming. There is elevation in key leadership roles and high authority in public assignment specific to this individual and others close to him. There is a special emphasis on skills and influence in that environment, as well as professional growth. The Spirit says there is an importance to pay close attention to those from now moving forward, especially when it comes to an influential position of key decision maker and advisor that the Spirit of God is pointing at. God is speaking of the overall responsibility of the individual that is going to hold that key role, and God is pointing at the importance of considering the heightened importance of developing new responsibilities of that individual or individuals in the overall changing needs of the working environment and the need for it to benefit a community. I believe it is a specific community where this individual will be coming from, and the country at large, as well as other communities, central in the subjective agenda of the role of this person. Immediately I got into this place, the overall environment that I was able to perceive was one of ambience with regards to one particular individual that the owner of this message seemed to be in a close working relationship with, a tall, dark man in a gray suit. That is all I can disclose of that individual. Now, once I was inside of that environment, and I am talking about a very specific a period of time that I was given access in the spirit, I received an instruction from the spirit, and immediately I got to work and set myself up to quickly do what I was there to do with keen perception and as efficiently as I could do it now. One of the key things that the Spirit of God is pointing at is the importance of personal renewal in that state of authority. For all that are in that environment, there is a need for purification of intentions for the plans of the next season. There is an importance to clean out all emotional clutter in preparation for the next season of leadership responsibility for purposes of restoring honor in the line of duty. The Spirit of God is pointing specifically at the capacity to hold down emotions and to receive spiritual truth in order to experience prosperity in the economy. There is a very specific pointer at the importance of refining core values, respecting traditions, and uncovering old wisdom. The Spirit is pointing at the relevance of partnership, balance, as well as a currently a pending choice between two paths, because I was granted access into an inner circle, and within the inner circle, I was able to perceive the conjuncture between two, an inner court and an outer court, whereby the two blended harmoniously to bring about harmony, with a key pointer at blending of high stakes ambition with a deep need for emotional nourishment, all at the backdrop of past experiences, traditions, and old lessons. The Spirit of God is saying that the demands of the next season are such that certain individuals in a position of leadership at that echelon need to need to discover hidden talents and deal with unacknowledged feelings, and also acknowledge and resolve anything regarding delayed rewards or passions, because the success of the plans of the next season and the next largely depends on those factors. The Holy Spirit says that those in that level of leadership must honor the past as one of the major ways of getting a favorable outcome. The people involved must also prepare for growth and must largely seek to build closure and resolution regarding what happened in the past. The place of responsibility is a very tangible position when it comes to godly ordained authority, and so God is speaking largely about upcoming public duties, responsibilities in leadership, the desire to serve the community is an area that requires His design and plan and the establishment of an effective plan. And He is speaking of the need for intense preparation, whereby daily efforts are being refined to influence a broader group of people. I received this message in the form of a code, and so interpretation was needed, and therefore form and therefore many of the things I'm speaking of in this short interpretation of what I saw may need to be looked at from different angles. However, many constants were presented to me in that coded message, and so the application of the message might also need to be done from different angles and applicable measures applicable in order to be able to apply it in many forms. One thing is for sure, however, God is saying that those in leadership must sanctify not only their spiritual selves but also their minds, thought patterns, and overall intentions in a deliberate effort, because God is putting a serious emphasis on what is needed for change in certain specific desired areas to occur. There is a special emphasis on the importance of strengthening the bridge between the physical and spiritual realms in our endeavors to bring about lasting change in certain areas. There is also special emphasis on how we handle information and communication generally. The Spirit of God is pointing at certain revelations in that echelon of leadership in terms of how secrets have been handled in the past, and even now with a pointer to certain spillages or revelation of secrets or certain classified information. He is also pointing at the handling of unexpected events or occurrences. Factors need to be handled with wisdom, amicably, and in a way that encompasses wisdom. The Spirit is also pointing at certain vessels or men and women in the place of service and the worth of each of these individuals. And He is specifically pointing at restoration of purpose and renewal. There is a need to break forth, to break free from certain honor roots such as long-term investments, heritage, and handling of what are termed as delayed blessings or recognitions, old experiences, history, and past lessons in order to extract value from those and to truly preserve what is truly precious and important. God is speaking of the importance of reclaiming value, rediscovering untapped potential or forgotten talents, and the exoneration from past accusations. The Spirit of the living God says that past efforts and long-standing goals are about to yield positive rewards. There is need, however, for sanctification in order to prepare yourselves to be worthy vessels for the new tasks and divine calling. And there is also a need to handle certain past historical traditions in a manner that will bring a balance between inherited expectations and current goals. It is a message of transition between the old and the new for the honor of the message. And so there is a need for deep reflection, to slow down and to reevaluate intentions and expectations, for reinterpretation of unexpected good changes. Think of healing and mindful relaxation at this point. Like I said, it was a heavily coded message in form of a vision, and I had to sort through it all to bring out a worthy interpretation. And so the owner of the message should also sift through it and apply where necessary. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Prophetic Truth Waves. God bless you and shalom.